one of the most important moments in the golf swing is not necessarily only when you're actually standing over the ball to hit it, but it's also the time you have before you hit the shot. In golf we call it the pre-shot routine, and if you watched the US Open golf over the weekend, you would have seen that every player has a sort of ritual or routine they have before they go in and hit the golf ball. As I said, it's called a pre-shot routine, and really what it serves to do is a couple of things. It really helps you to sort of prepare your body for the kind of movement you want to make or the kind of shot you want to hit, because let's face it, not every shot in golf is exactly the same. So the pre-shot routine really helps you to familiarize yourself and your body with the kind of shots that you want to be hitting. It also serves as a point of visualization, where you're looking at your target, you're seeing where you want to go, you're taking note of the things that are happening around you, the environment, and also your own awareness. It gives you that moment to breathe and to really start centering and focusing on where you want to go. And the wonderful thing about golf is that opportunity to do that, and so I find it super helpful because you can really get your body and your mind dialed into where it is you want to hit, because you're really focusing on that, and your body's ready, you've rehearsed the shot, and it helps you to commit to the shot as well. And really, as I've mentioned, some of the important parts of that routine is really an awareness about what it is you're trying to do. It brings high levels of intentionality to the shot you're trying to hit. And I can't but help but think that, and I've experienced this in my own life and some of the people I work with, that you need to instill and embed a sort of pre-shot routine in your daily life. And that sort of happens in two areas. One is, there's sort of a lot of talk about how you start your day, and whether that's waking up and journaling or meditating or being grateful and writing down a list of things and really trying to imagine what your day is going to look like, and really feeling that. And I think that's very, very important to do as a start, sort of like gets you focused in that space. But I think the other thing where I find it helpful in the analogy from golf is that every single shot there's a pre-shot routine. Whether you're hitting a driver, whether you're hitting an iron, whether you're chipping or putting, there's sort of a pre-shot ritual, if you will. And I can't help but think, in the light of sort of having these moments of impact in our day, that we go into those moments as intentionally as possible, and that we have a pre-shot routine as we do that. And so when you're looking at that for your daily life and for the way in which you go about doing things, I think really one of the most important things is to be able to create the time to have a little pre-shot routine. So for me, the way it works is if I'm going from coaching session to coaching session, I like to leave at least 30 minutes between each of them, so that I can come out of the one session, reset, readjust, look at where I'm going with the next session, and really trying to bring the best of myself to that next shot. And so oftentimes when we're in a rush, when we're hurried in life, we sort of go through things like this, one shot, and then we move on to the very next moment, and we're trying to gather ourselves, and not to mention sort of there's a bit of residue left over from the previous moment, whether it wasn't such a good moment or whether it was a good moment, and we kind of just find ourselves moving through life in this way. And it's not really a very mindful and collective, grounded way to play. I'm not bringing the best of myself into that moment. And so what would be a pre-shot routine for you? Is it before you go into a meeting, breathing? One of the things I really enjoy about the golf shot is that you're envisioning what you want to achieve. Oftentimes when we move from one moment to the next, we're not bringing our best selves to the moment. We're kind of just rushing in and going on autopilot. Whereas here, we can even get into a place where we're feeling what we want the moment to be like, and we're feeling what we want the conversation to be like. And I think it's so important, because what it does is it dials our body in. And the more and more you get into that routine, and this is where I find the power of the pre-shot routine, is that it actually, if you do it enough times and you create a routine that gets you results, and if you keep repeating that, what ends up happening is the minute you start to do that pre-shot routine, your body clicks into, okay, I'm familiar with this. What normally follows this routine is high performance or synchronization, or what follows this moment is a high degree of presence and effectiveness. And so the pre-shot routine becomes more than just sort of an intentional thing about how you want the moment to feel and what you want it to look like, but it also becomes a mechanism by which you dial yourself in. And so for me, I have sort of, I have 2 practice swings, really firstly feeling what I want my swing to do, and then really standing behind the shot and seeing which side of the flag I want to go on, or which side of the fairway I want to hit, and getting myself aligned to that, and I've already mentioned in my work, trying to create that space where I can reset. And I think once you get into that mode, you become so entrenched in that movement that, if you had to wake me up at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd probably do that same pre-shot routine over and over again. And lastly, I think what's also important about a pre-shot routine is, you'll find that the players, or any player for that matter, they'll have their routine, they'll visualize, they'll get the feeling of what they want to do, and then they'll step up to the shot and get ready to hit, and then they'll back away because they're not sure of something. And what they do is they don't simply, come to the shot, back away, and then just come straight back in. Oftentimes what they'll do is they'll reset and redo their pre-shot routine. And it's another way of just kind of, okay, I need to, especially when things don't go well, they go back to that sort of familiar place, back to that routine, before they hit the shot. And so my encouragement to you would be to approach your life with a little bit more intentionality. Approach each moment with a bit of a pre-shot routine. Think about, okay, what do I want this moment to feel like? What do I want? What is the objective of this moment? How do I want to come into it? What is the kind of things I need to do? And particularly, part of the pre-shot routine for a lot of players is working on something that they're trying to ingrain in their swing. And the pre-shot routine really helps you to practice that. So, as an example, if you're wanting to be more collaborative or listen better, visualizing yourself being that way before you go into a meeting really helps, because it sets your mind to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And so getting into that mode of ingraining the things you want to work on also helps in that pre-shot routine. So again, if you're going into a moment, think of what it is that you want to bring to that moment and what you're working on, whether it's better communication or whether it's listening better, I think is key to having successful outcomes. And so as you do that, maybe take a look at different areas of your life or your leadership or your work and think about, where could I start and what kind of pre-shot routine could I ingrain? Till next time, cheers.